Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. Sorry about the rerun last week. Nah, not really. I'd like to say I'm sorry about the rerun last week, but I didn't have the ambition to make a show last week, so I didn't make a show last week. That's the beauty of not getting paid for doing this. I don't have to do it if I don't feel like it, and I didn't feel like it. So, but I've been gathering up stuff, kind of gathering up stuff. Stuff's been building up, shall we say, on the Unfiltered Facebook page. Not so many comments this week, but some stuff I've shared. And I'll start right in with this one because I saw it and I was like, brilliant. The headline is Native American Council offers amnesty to 220 million undocumented whites. That's right. That's you and me. In case you hadn't figured that out yet. All right. I'm just going to read through this. This came from the Beta Minds website. It says a Council of Native American Leaders has offered partial amnesty to the estimated 220 million illegal white immigrants living in the United States. The white problem has been a topic of much debate in the Native American community for centuries, and community leaders have decided the time has come to properly address it. Exactly. The Daily Current reports at a meeting of the Native Peoples Council in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Native American leaders considered several proposals on the future of its continent's largest unauthorized European population. The elders ultimately decided to extend a pathway to citizenship for those without criminal backgrounds. Pretty liberal Native Americans, I'd say. It goes on, it says, we are prepared to offer white people the option of staying on this continent legally and applying for citizenship, explains Chief Wamsutta of the Wampanoag Nation. In return, they must pay any outstanding taxes and give back the land stolen from our ancestors. Any white person with a criminal record, however, will be deported in the next 90 days back to their ancestral homeland. Rush Limbaugh will be going to Germany. Justin Bieber will depart for Canada. And the entire cast at Jersey Shore will be returning to Italy. Illegal white immigration has been rapidly increasing for nearly 400 years from the European countries of France, Spain, and England. These illegals have ravished the land and colonized areas occupied by the natives. Not to mention, killed most of the natives. Some white supporters claim the immigrants are a blessing, arguing that they take all of the menial white-collar jobs that the natives don't even want. Let me read that again, just in case you didn't get it. Some white supporters claim the immigrants are a blessing, arguing that they take all of the menial white-collar jobs that the natives don't even want. What native would want to have a cushy salary and a corner office as an accountant, or the excess of power as a senator or a Fortune 500 CEO, they claim? The difference between them and us is they don't have dreams of grandeur, and they don't expect to live cushy lives. Others are not so forgiving. Why can't we just deport all of the whites back to Europe? Asks, I'm not even going to try the name because I'll blow it. But he's from the Lakota people. He says they're just a drain on our economy anyway. They came over here to steal our resources because they're too lazy to develop their own back home. I can't believe we're just going to let them pay a fine. They should get to the back of the line like everybody else, behind the Mexicans. Now you can, feel free to post on the Facebook page, whether this is complete crap or not. But, I read it and I thought it was quite interesting because, yeah, We yell about immigrants. We are the immigrants. We scream about what a bad dude Hitler was. We were worse than Hitler. Just saying. It's the government stuff. And that's going to lead right into this next thing, which I shared on Facebook maybe early this morning, because this morning being last Thursday, because you're seeing this on Tuesday. One of my friends, Ty, had shared this. It's a little thing by Saul Alinsky entitled How to Create a Socialist State. And we're going to talk about that because the top of the... because of the top one. The top one is healthcare. Because there are 8 levels of control that must be obtained before you are able to create a socialist state. Healthcare is number 1. And last week there was a lot of hype and a lot of talk in the mainstream media and all over the media about Trump's answer to a question from Chris Matthews when Chris asked him about abortion. He said if you make abortion illegal, then would you charge the woman with a crime? Would you charge a woman who gets an abortion with a crime if abortion is legal? And Trump said yes. Well, he went back later on to his dudes, his fixers, came by with the broom later on, sweeping up the mess, and they said that he didn't really mean that the women would be charged and guilty of a crime, that the doctors would be charged. And again, that it touches kind of a weird spot with me, because if abortion is legal and a woman gets an abortion, yeah, charge her. She broke the law. Abortion is illegal. If you get an abortion, you broke the law. You're guilty of a crime. See, that's the problem, people. We have so many laws and we don't enforce them. We make laws just to sound like we're on the right track, and then you never enforce them. That's the problem. You make exceptions. But yes, if you're gonna make abortion illegal, the right person to charge is the woman. And I know a lot of you are throwing shit at the TV right now saying, Rick, you're full of crap. It should be the doctor. No. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make. They protest abortion doctors. Abortion doctors are providing a service. Abortion doctors aren't running around the country breaking into houses giving people abortions for nothing, for no reason. A woman has to go to an abortion doctor and say, I want an abortion, before he'll do an abortion. So guess what? It's the woman. It can't be the doctor, because, like I said, it would be a big different thing. If abortion doctors were creeping around, breaking into people's houses and giving them an abortion in the middle of the night, then the doctor's guilty. But when a woman goes to a doctor and says, I'd like an abortion, and the doctor says, okay, the doctor shouldn't be charged. Plain and simple. You friggin' people on the left are just... Your brains are turds. Because you can't put the 2 and 2 together. Here's one that'll blow your minds. What if abortion is illegal, a woman gets pregnant, her pregnancy threatens her life? Should she get an abortion, or should the baby live and she die? Make up your mind, people. Yes, I know that's a great exception to the rule, Rick, but it would never happen. Yeah, and it'll never happen that abortion will be illegal again either. So shut up about it. If you don't want to have to worry about getting an abortion, don't have sex. I'm spitting all over the place here. Man, I get so riled up about this stuff. Again, it's all personal choice, people. You make the decision what you're going to do with your life. It's your life, after all. In the meantime, don't you try and make decisions for what I'm going to do with my life. There's a great old saying, if everybody would mind their own business, they'd be too busy to mind anybody else's business. The problem is the government's just not busy enough. And they've got to mind all of our business. And that's crap. Here's where we get back to the 8 things that you need to control your people enough to become a socialist state. Number 1 is healthcare. The government controls the healthcare, it controls the people. If all of a sudden the government said that, hey, you can charge $1 million for AIDS vaccinations or AIDS treatments, and that's fine. And all the pharmaceutical companies said, hey, perfect, we're going to charge $1 million. Guess what? All the AIDS patients would die. They wouldn't be able to afford the medication. They would die. The government caused that. Yeah, by the government. And the whole Obamacare, they call it Affordable Health Care Act. It's not Affordable Health Care Act. It's, hey, let's give more money to the insurance companies. That's what that's called. You want affordable health care, you start telling doctors they can't charge $300 for an office visit. Plain and simple. It has nothing to do with, healthcare's got nothing to do with insurance companies. Healthcare is between me and a doctor. And if you didn't teach doctors that they could be so goddamn greedy, because medical care eventually becomes a necessity, and once medical care does become a necessity, that's when its costs are the highest. The people say, oh, we can't afford it, we can't afford it. The government steps in, no, don't worry, we'll take care of you. Count on us. We're the government, we're the only ones who can help you. Number 2, poverty. Increase the poverty level as high as possible because poor people are easier to control. They don't have such high expectations. So you get the majority of your people to be poor in your country, and they're easier to manipulate. Hell, you can manipulate them with bread. Lead them around from state to state with a piece of bread if somebody's hungry enough. That's exactly what the government's doing with income taxes and subsidies to the rich oil companies and subsidies to the cigarette companies, which again falls under health care. If you get health insurance and you go to the doctors and they find out, oh, you've got something that's caused by smoking and you're a smoker, well, the insurance company's not going to cover you because you could have stopped smoking. But here's what I think. For every person that quits smoking cigarettes, The government gives a little bit more of your money to the tobacco companies who aren't quite making that profit that they were making last month. They're called government subsidies. Again, meant to protect the rich and drive the poverty level up. Poor people are easy to control and will not fight back if you are providing everything for them to live. Yeah. There was nothing we could do during World War II. Because guess what? We were too busy standing in bread lines trying to feed ourselves. If they had pulled that while the Vietnam War was going on, you know, none of them college kids would have been protesting. They would have been too busy being hungry and poor. They wouldn't have had any money for signs. All right, debt is the next one. Number 3 is debt. Increase the debt to an unsustainable level. That way you're able to increase taxes and this will produce more poverty. Again, everything to drive the poverty level up. Gun control, and we saw this in New Orleans during Katrina. Remove people's ability to defend themselves from the government. That way you are able to create a police state. And the first thing we saw after Hurricane Katrina was the National Guard going and taking people's weapons away. Yeah. Welfare. It's the next one. Number 5, welfare. Take control of every aspect of their lives. Food, housing, and income. And so far, the government's doing a pretty good job at controlling all of those things. We're not free people. The government is leading us by a big old bull ring it's got in our nose, and wherever the government wants us, we will go. Just saying. Number 6 is education. And this has been going on for more than 100 years too. Take control of what people read and listen to. Media, for one thing. All the main media is owned by huge corporations that back either one of the other side of the governments. Take control of what children learn in school. Common Core, maybe. Yeah. The government tells the states, who tell the towns what to teach kids and what we want our kids to learn. As far as I'm concerned, it's up to us as parents to figure out what we want our kids to learn. The government should have no intervening hand in that at all, except to provide money. Shell out the money, keep your mouth shut. That's what the government should be doing with a lot of stuff. The government should be paying for it, but not running it. And not guiding it. Okay. 7, religion. Remove the belief in God from the government and the schools. Well, they did that because when I went to school, we used to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And granted, while that's not prayer in school, prayer had been removed probably long before I got to school. We did say the Pledge of Allegiance, which included the words, under God. And, you know, you didn't get in trouble if you prayed in school, I guess. I mean, I don't think, I'm trying to remember, I don't think I ever prayed in school, but, you know, Christmas, I think we talked about Jesus maybe, and what the holiday meant. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. God, that was like 40, 50 years ago or something like that. God. And they never taught me how to retain information, you know, how to just hold on to it forever. Number 8, the final thing is class warfare. And divide the people. Divide the people into wealthy and poor. This will cause more discontent, and it will be easier to tax the wealthy with the support of the poor. So yeah, you raise up the number of poor people, and then you tell them that all their problems are because of the rich people. The poor people will revolt against the rich people. The government taxes the rich people more to make the poor people happy. And the government just stands up here and plays on its own and pretends it's nice. And it's not. This is stuff that we've been headed for forever. And if we don't stand up and demand a change in our government, which we are also entitled to, and somewhere I remember seeing that exact thing on Facebook earlier, and I bet I can't find it now. But I'll scroll down and see if I can fly by it real quick, and I won't because my computer's so slow. But anyway, it showed that that actual amendment in the Constitution that said the people have the right to rise up and replace the government if they're not acting like a proper government. But again, that's where, the gun control comes in. The government sets the laws on who can own guns and how much ammunition you can buy. The government created the military, and the military works for the government. So if the people decided to rise up against the government, the military, imagine that. Imagine the government turning the military on us people because we're tired of the government and we want something different. And protests these days are going way too far. I'm tired of hearing, Trump's causing violent protesters and blah, 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 and this and that, and or Trump's beating up protesters or some crap. And people are protesting, stretching themselves across major interstates in protest of shit. And it's stupid. I grew up in the 70s. It was, probably the early 70s was probably one of the high points of protesting. We had all them great protest songs, like 1, 2, 3, 4, what are we fighting for? Country Joe and the Fish. We had Arlo Guthrie. We had, all these people writing great protest songs. And we had nuclear power. We were fighting against nuclear power. Remember the Clamshell Alliance? And they would go over to Seabrook and they would chain themselves to the fence at Seabrook. And then they would all get arrested and be taken down to the jail and be fed dinner and then let go. And they have to go to court later on and pay their fines. But the thing about the protests back then, before those groups of people from the Clamshell Alliance would go out on a demonstration, they would have a meeting and like a class on exactly how to act while you're protesting. The whole nonviolence, peaceful demonstration, civil disobedience without violence. The Clamshell Alliance people weren't getting up in people's faces. They were simply there, in the way. And not in the way of the general public. In the way of exactly the people that they were targeting for their protest, the nuclear plant. So they weren't up on, Route 101. Or they weren't, stretched across I-95 saying no nuclear plant. They were right at Seabrook. The only people they were affecting were the nuclear plant workers, construction workers, the people that were trying to get stuff done to build the nuclear plant. You don't just protest for general, hey, I'm just going to protest today. I've actually been thinking about going down to the common and getting me a big sign with the word protest written on it and a circle and a slash through it. And standing down there protesting. I think that would be cool. All right. We're getting down there in time, and I think I've ran this whole, what it takes to be a socialist. Oh, man, and I lost my other page. All right. We'll get it opened back up here. It's some more interesting facts, because you folks love those interesting facts. Approximately every 7 minutes of every day, someone in an aerobics class pulls a hamstring. Yeah, so stay away from that. What else did I see? Venus is the only planet that rotates clockwise. All the other planets rotate counterclockwise. All U.S. presidents have worn glasses. Some just didn't like being seen wearing them in public. The website with the highest number of women visitors between the ages of 35 and 44, Alka-Seltzer.com. The King of Hearts is the only king without a mustache. Pearls melt in vinegar. So guys, if you need to get back at your ex-wife, go ahead and melt her pearls. 35% of people who use personal ads for dating are already married. Yeah, it's not my fault. And the most 3 valuable brand names on earth: Marlboro, Coca-Cola, and Budweiser, in that order. And again, I've rolled through another half an hour. Our time for tonight is up. Till next week, I'm Rick Blood. This is Unfiltered. Peace.